You were saying that dating, men and women struggle about the same in different ways, but we struggle about the same if there was some way to measure it. When it comes to courtship, dating, relationships. However, I disagree. I think women have it easier.
Yeah, and so to my point, like fucking on the first date, for example, that may be true. I just have never heard and personally have ever had that experience, right? Like, I don't think men take you seriously when you sleep with them right away.
But you don't have to sleep with a guy on the first date.
No, but you're saying like the relationships, modern relationships typically start out sexual. So whether it's first, second, or third, it's pretty soon, right?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be the first, but yeah, typically I'd say most within the first 3 dates.
Right. So if they start out sexual, like really soon, how is a man supposed to respect you?
He doesn't, and the relationship doesn't last.
I disagree with. I disagree with that.
Like that's true either.
I disagree with that in that you can have sex relatively early on, and still it can flourish into a relationship, and you can still respect them. And I think a girl can sleep with a guy relatively quick and still have a low body count.
See, I was just about to ask that. How do you expect a girl to have a low body count and try to find her Prince Charming by sleeping with him on the second date?
So, yeah, I mean, it is a bit of a dilemma for women. It is a bit of a dilemma for women. Yeah. But, I mean, there's certain things that you can do, for example. Like, first off, have a conversation with the guy. Ask him bluntly what he's looking for. Now, obviously, some dudes are going to lie to get sex. Sure, that's going to happen. But you can definitely ask. And I mean, I think women have a really good social intuition. I mean, perhaps you want to believe his lies because you find him attractive. That's another conversation. But also, what is the long-term potential there? Like, does he seem like a fuckboy? If he is, he's probably, like, no matter what he says, probably not a good bet. So does he seem like a fuckboy? The other thing...
Pokey Smith donated $100. Take Mike from
okay, I'm not saying anything for like
an hour. Well, I mean, you can engage with me on this if you want, but he hasn't hit... the trigger has to be all in one donation. But, okay, so is the guy, like, are you on spring break? Are you in Tulum? Are you in Miami? Probably don't fuck a dude. Like, if you don't want to rack up a high body count, don't sleep with men while you're traveling. Don't sleep with men who are traveling.
Scuba super chatted $100.
Thank you, man.
23, single, engineer. Haven't dated in 4 years. Too much risk. Spend most of my time working or spending time with friends. Most modern women don't see the common man looking for a relationship. We don't even make it on their radar.
Engineer, what kind of engineer, man? I mean, usually engineers do pretty well financially, I'd say, but I mean, that's kind of my stance. Is a lot of, average women don't want average men. So, okay, but in terms of keeping your body count low, so there's talking to him, seeing what he's about, getting a feel for him. I think women have much stronger social intuition than men do. Like if you're traveling or that he's going to be leaving town in a month, don't sleep with him. If he's leaving town in 3 months, don't sleep with him. Like, feel out the logistic component of, is there long-term potential here? Like some girls will like hook up with a guy knows he's leaving town in 3 months. Unless you're going to get into a long distance relationship, which is ill-advised, but, so feel it out on that end. And then, I mean, I can speak from personal experience. I've had multiple long-term relationships. I've dated a girl for 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, 9 months, 1 year. I've had a few long-term relationships. Most of these girls, like I'd say we had sex within the first 3 dates. So can I ask you a question? Yeah. Would you and they had relatively low body counts too. Would you say like a woman, for example, like with a high body count like me, would you say she's not deserving of anybody, or would you say she's deserving of not high value men, just average men? Well, I mean, I'm not saying that you don't deserve anybody, okay, but there are some men, I suppose, that will tolerate the fact that you're previously sex addicted and have a really high body count. But
donated $100. Piggy had more pipe than a plumber.
What the fuck? Anyways.
Okay, Jesus Christ.
I'm not even going to entertain that one.
Let's try to keep it polite, guys, if we can. Let's try to keep it polite, guys. So Yeah, I'm sure there's some guy out there, but I mean, the high body count thing is probably going to be an issue for some guys. For some guys, it's not. Like, for example, do you care about body count?
No.
Yeah, some dudes don't
Yeah.
care about body count. I think they're perhaps should have some standards on that front, but I mean, everyone's entitled to their own view. So,
Yeah.
I'm not.
When I met him, I had a low body count. It
And
was
after
very
you,
low.
and while you were still with him, you bumped up
because
your body
we had
count.
to make that money.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. But I guess the point, and to bring it back to the sex thing. So you said your body count is 136, right?
Yeah, around there. Yeah.
So just to bring it back to the whole like men and women struggle the same.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying this to be mean to you. However, I want to state this as
you're not gonna hurt my feelings.
sure. I appreciate you saying
Yeah.
that. So your male looks equivalent could not sleep with 6 women in a night, could not have a 136 body count.
Right, because you're saying I'm average looking, right?
I mean, I don't want to make comments about your appearance, but I'm just saying
No, I know I am. Yeah.
Yes, but your male looks equivalent could not sleep with 6 women in a night the same way that you slept with 6 men in a night.
Right, because men are willing to like fuck down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but basically, like, you have the equivalent sexual pull of a famous athlete, musician, or actor, A-list celebrity, and you're an average woman. And I'm not saying that to insult you, but what I'm saying, I guess to make my point, you can leverage your sexual pull to potentially, not guaranteed, secure a relationship.
Tipoki Smith donated $136.
I don't. This. Yo, chat. Hold on.
troll?
Chat. Let me ask chat. Is. Can you pull the chat over? Is this guy gonna charge? Like, I'm kind of getting worried that this is like might be chargeback territories. Chat, your thoughts on this? Like, I'm a little
It was
concerned
his choice to donate.
that
so,
that it's.
you know,
I mean, I don't know. Is it? Hopefully not, because I did the fucking hookup, bro. If you don't do it, okay. So you were gonna respond, I think.
What was the last part of your statement? I'm sorry.
Well, basically.
Oh, like I could basically. Oh, sorry. I
Eric,
keep bumping
Eric,
into
could
you.
you open the door?
I'm an average-looking woman, so but being an average-looking woman, I can still get more pull than an average-looking man. I understand that, but so like, what was your point in saying that? Women don't have as much loneliness. You know what I mean?
That it's harder for men.
Yeah.
That it's harder for men.
Yeah, to have sex.
Well, it's also harder for men in all other realms too.
Tipoki Smith donated $100. I won't charge back DW.
I don't know if you got that crazy oil money or something, or you got some Bitcoin. Just I believe you, but it's the volume of super chats you're sending makes me. You know what I mean. You know, I'm a little, it's crossing my mind. But thank you. If you're not like your patronage is deeply appreciated. But I'm, it is something I'm considering. Okay, so. I don't know how exactly I want to tackle this. So what was your previous point?
So let me kind of like wrap it up. You know what I think? I think she's right. I think we're arguing against feminism, but we're just picking at straws because we're saying who struggles the most, right?
Yeah.
So I think I'm like arguing for feminism against feminism with feminism. You know what I mean? So I think at the end of the day, we can come to the general conclusion that feminism is like bad for society. It's just a matter of like who started it. I don't know, chicken or the egg kind of thing, right? Because you could say women started it, yes, but you could also say that men went along with it. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm not sure if that's really addressing kind of the point I'm trying to make here. And
Okay.
the point
Yeah.
I've been making, and the point you're pushing back against is you're saying that the struggle that men and women experience when it comes to dating is
Right.
about equivalent. And I'm saying that men struggle more on the sex front and the dating front.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, here. We can change it. let's even remove sex from this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
How do most people meet? They meet online nowadays, right? They meet on.
Not me, but
Well, well, I mean, that,
sorry, most
you're
people.
one-
That's what you said. Sorry.
yeah, most people meet people online. So, as a woman on a dating app, you're far more likely, and there are both men and women on dating apps who are looking for relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So, women get more matches, they get more likes. Women swipe no on more men than do men swipe no on women. Women, as a guy, you're going to have to initiate typically the first message. You're going to have to plan the date, set up the date, probably pay for the date. Women, I mean,
And okay.
let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Do women have more options than men?
Sexually, yes. Yes.
Relationship wise, do women have more options than men?
I don't. It depends. Again, it depends on certain circumstances, right? It depends on the age demographic. It depends on, how attractive these men are. It depends on a lot of factors. If we're talking about men 18 to 25, I think that, yeah, women have it harder, a lot harder if they're dating within their age group. If you have like a woman that's 25 and she's like dating within like 26 to like 35-year-old men, then yeah, the 25 to 35-year-old men are probably going to have it harder. But it just depends. Right?
I mean, does anybody else want to come in on this? I want to open
guys.
it up to the rest of the panel. Anybody? Hello?
I feel like you're just speaking for like a small minority, but generally speaking, it's like pretty spot on about like what he's saying.
You mean like for men that like put women in the F zone?
Okay,
See,
women.
I'm kindly saying this, right? The only type of women who mostly get put in the fuck zone are people who place themselves there. Other than that, most women are like taken seriously.
Well, I agree with that, but the thing is like, I don't know. Men also lie to women too, right?
Yeah, but I think as a woman, it's really easy to spot out lies and you know kind of exactly what to expect from guys. Like, I feel like it's such, like you're lying to yourself if you're going to sit here and like listen to what guys tell you and then be like, oh, I can't believe this happened this way. Like, you know in your gut. You know in your gut when it's going to be. Sometimes you'll choose to ignore that, but that doesn't dismiss the fact that you knew to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I've been talking too much. I'm sorry.
Yeah, let's move on to a different topic. I think just ultimately, even if you remove the sex component, that there are, in terms of struggle, there's also just more burden, even removing, well, who has an easier time attaining relationships. There is a higher burden on men to perform. For example, we have the burden of having to be the initiators. I don't think you deny that. Men have to initiate. Generally speaking, men have to initiate.
Women
Men have
want
to.
that generally, yeah.
Sure,
Yeah.
women want it, but let's say a guy, he's shy, he's introverted, he's socially awkward, has social anxiety. He's probably fucked. Whereas and actually, I mean, there's so many ways I can tackle this. Like, a guy who's neurodivergent is going to have a far higher time, is going to have a much harder time getting a girl than a girl who's neurodivergent. Also, like, even a chick in a wheelchair, bro, she could put up some fucking bodies. Whereas like a dude in a wheelchair, he's going to struggle. Amputee?
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Not necessarily, but
I'm just kidding. There's plenty of women in wheelchairs that are beautiful.
also here's another thing. There's this femcell. I don't know if you know femcell.
Yeah, like where
It's not even real because it's
no
impossible.
man wants me, and there's like a bunch of guys that are like trying to.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's almost impossible for a woman to be involuntarily celibate. And there's a forum on Reddit of femcells who claim to be involuntary celibate, and they actually had to like private it or shut it down because a bunch of men were messaging these supposed involuntarily celibate women, offering them relationships, offering them sex. So women can never be as lonely as a guy can. You might not have the optimal suitor that you want, but there's a different degree of loneliness that men experience when it comes to relationships than women.
See, I disagree with that. When in my active sex addiction, I was never lonelier in my life. And arguably, you could say I shouldn't be because I was having sex with the most amount of people at that time, right?
I mean, you had 136
but that's
sexual
mostly
partners.
because you're having like an emotional response to it. It's not because like physically.
Yo,
like,
did any
you're
of the
doing
guys?
something.
Oh,
Sorry.
let me just come in really quick, then I'll have you come in. Did you cuddle with any of the guys
Yeah.
that you hooked up with?
Yeah.
Do you know how touch starved most men are? Perhaps it was a one night stand. The guy didn't text you back, but you got sex. You got a cuddle. Most men are so touch starved that like even the fact that you could cuddle. So I'm not challenging the fact that you were perhaps dissatisfied or lonely or depressed because of your phase of promiscuity.
Right.
But most men they can't even get that amount of attention. Most men I shouldn't say most, a lot of men, maybe it is most, are invisible to women. They're not getting, a girl's never sliding into their DMs, a girl's never asking them out on a date, a girl's never paying them a compliment, a girl is never going on a date with them, they're not getting cuddles, they're not even getting sex. At least you can, perhaps it's not what women want, but at least you can get that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. So I do actually agree with that. But it's not like when you have like casual sex, even if it's like a cuddle, even if there's like some type of intimacy and you know what the other party's intentions are, it's not the same. It doesn't mean that you get more satisfaction out of it versus when you're, like alone. I would rather be alone. You know what I mean? I would rather be alone than have meaningless sex ever again.
But
like,
Base. I love that.
I'm just saying.
And that's why, kids, you should wait until you're married to have
Yes.
sex.
Right, but I mean, I think sex is considered almost a need. What is the Maslow's hierarchy of needs or
It's
something?
food, shelter, and reproduction, I'm pretty sure.
Well, I mean, I think women enjoy having sex.
Yeah.
And so I agree with you in the sense that like probably most women are happier actually having a relationship with one person instead of having a string of sexual partners. But like, let's not deny the fact that women on their own end, I don't know if happily is the right word, they participate in hookup culture.
So confused. Super
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
$100. So I have a rule: no sex on the first 3 dates, but after that free game. But these chicks come out for the free meal, say thanks and tip. Single men will always be lonely and invisible. I had a dating app for 2 years, got 6 matches and 2 dates, so men have it harder.
Yo, by the way,